lovely people, welcome back to my channel, or hey, if you're new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. And surprise, I have new hair. If you have watched my channel, if this is not your first video, you will know I was pretty blonde before, and literally an hour ago I left the hair salon and I've got new hair. Everyone stay calm. I know, this is crazy news, but seriously though, like, I am still getting used to it because this is quite different from my old hair. However, today's video, as you have probably seen from the title, is going to be my spring TBR. I did this for fall. I created like an autumn TBR and I just found it really fun to have sort of like a little list that I want to get to with each season. I think it's really fun to do that, and I've created a little list of 10 books that are on my radar for the springtime. Some of them I own, some of them I don't own, and some of them I plan to listen to on audiobook. So we've kind of just got 10 books that I really want to get to and that maybe give me spring vibes. I will say not all of them give me spring vibes. There's like one or two that I've just in there because I really want to read them. But some exciting reading vlogs will be coming to you very soon. There should be one after this video, fingers crossed. Without further ado, let's get into today's video and talk about some spring books. Okay, book number 1 on my spring TBR has to be Wild Side by Miss Elsie Silver. This is a brand new release. I think it came out on the 4th of March. I'm yet to get my hands on it, but I am planning to get my hands on it this weekend. I am so excited to read this book. I love Elsie Silver. I love small towns. I love cowboy romances. I love single dad romances. I love Elsie Silver, and I'm so ready for this book. This is the 3rd book in her Rose Hill Ranch series. So we have book 1, Wild Love, book 2, Wild Eyes, and then book 3 is Wild Side. I think there's going to be one more, and this whole series is single dad romances. I know. It's perfect. I love these books. They're so fun. They're honestly such a fun time, and I can't wait to read Wild Side. I'm not going to spoil who this one's about in case you haven't read book 1 and 2 yet and you want to go in blind, but I feel like book 2 really set this book up well, and the couple that it's between, I can't wait to read about. I feel like this is going to be a crazy good romance, and yeah, I've rated Wild Eyes a 5-star. So this one might be a 5-star too, and I'm just so excited. Also, small town romances just give me major spring vibes. I forgot what season I was talking about. Okay, book number 2 is The Bodyguard by Catherine Center. I personally feel like all of Catherine Center's books give me spring vibes. I could be wrong. I've literally never read a Catherine Center book, but I've heard amazing things. I base this thought process off of the covers of her books. They are just so spring to me. They've always got some kind of bright pop of colour, some flowers going on, and I'm obsessed. I love them, and I really think it's about time I get to them because I have heard, I feel like people who are big fans of Emily Henry and Abby Jimenez tend to like Catherine Center's books, and I am a big fan of both of those authors, so I feel like it's about time I give her a go. I'm pretty sure her romances are quite kind of like fluffy romances, quite cutesy, and The Bodyguard is one that has particularly captured my eye. So this one is not like your typical bodyguard romance. This romance follows the female main character who is the bodyguard. So instead of it being like the typical man being the bodyguard, she is actually the girl boss bodyguard, and he is the actor who needs help and protecting because he has some kind of stalker. And I think it's like a very cutesy rom-com, very like, just like a fun giggly time, and I'm very excited to get to this book. I just feel like it's giving me the most spring vibes ever. Watch it be set in like December and I'm here like, I love spring, I'm adding it to my spring TBR, and it's like set in Christmas. Imagine. The next book on my list is probably one of the most exciting books on this list potentially, and that is Close Protection by Eden Victoria. I got sent an ARC of this book, or an early copy, and I literally, like, I'm still excited right now. I got sent the most gorgeous box of things from it, and the book itself, it's got the most gorgeous cover and gorgeous spine. I'm so excited to display it on my bookshelf, and it's my first ARC. I've never had an ARC before. I've been kind of wanting to read this for quite a while because I know that Eden is a TikToker and she's been posting about it and things like that, and from the posts that she's made I've been very hooked. I've been like, oh okay, this sounds like a bit of me. It is a YA romance, which honestly sometimes I just crave. I just feel like they're so simplistic to read. Like, we've not got any, I don't mean that, I mean like they're very nice to read. We've not got like loads of darkness to them. They're just heartwarming, and I just love them. So this one follows a girl called Daphne, and she is this kind of rich girl. Her dad's very rich in Britain. He owns some kind of company, and something happens. Someone is after something within her dad's company and she needs protecting. So in comes Milosh, and he is going to be her bodyguard. So he is kind of like living in their house and he's protecting her at all costs. He's with her all the time, so it's close proximity, force proximity, and he is like this ex-army guy. She is this like pretty in pink girl. I'm so excited for this one, and it's brand new. I think it came out, or it's coming out on March 13th, so this is definitely high up on my spring TBR. The next one is like very different from any of the books on this list because it's a classic. I really want to read Emma this spring. I feel like I don't tend to read classics, as you will all know. I rarely read them. My favourite ever classic, which I think about on the regular, is Wuthering Heights. I love that classic, and that is the only one that I've read and thought, wow, 5 stars, I would read again. The others I've been kind of like, I can leave them, like I'm fine. But Wuthering Heights I'm obsessed with. However, I really want to read Emma. From what I've seen and heard, it's quite different to Jane Austen's other works because it's quite like funny, and Emma is kind of like this imperfect female lead, whereas the others are kind of like quite prim and proper, and you know, it's all about the romance. Emma's kind of just like this girl who just doesn't care. Like, she's just like, whatever, like I'm me. And she's quite rude in a way from what I've seen, and I just really feel like that would be a fun and entertaining classic. So out of all the classics that I think of, that's the one that I want to actually read. And I also then want to go and watch the Anya Taylor-Joy, is it a series, I think? That looks quite good. I really want to watch that. I don't know why as well. I think just from seeing the snippets of the series with Anya Taylor-Joy, it gives me major spring vibes. It gives me like yellow and bright colours and flowers, and that's the only classic that is like drawing me in right now. Maybe in the winter I kind of want to read like Dracula and Carmilla, but for now Emma is giving me spring vibes. Of course I have to add a thriller to this list, and the thriller I'm going to add is one that I own physically because I'm also trying to make it through my physical TBR, and that is The Fury by Alex Michaelides. I think that's how you pronounce his last name. Very sorry if not. But this one is set on a Greek island, and although it's kind of giving me like summer, I feel like that could also work for spring because we've got the sun, you know. I'm not sure thrillers tend to be sunny vibes, so this is kind of the only one I could think of that's giving spring, and also I own it physically, so why would I not add it to this list? It's set on a Greek island and it follows some friends who've gone on like a holiday, I believe, and I think one of them maybe dies, and then we have to like figure out who's done it, like one of those kind of thrillers. And it's just quite short and snappy. I feel like it would be perfect to sit maybe on like a bench with the sun out with like an ice cold drink, a snack, maybe like a bowl of like strawberries or something. That's giving me a good vibe. I feel like it's going to be a fun time. I think I kind of neglect the thriller genre quite a bit just because I don't know which books are good or not. Like, I rarely see the people that I follow recommending thrillers, so I just don't know which ones to add to my list. But I did see Sarah Caroli reading this one when it came out, and I just bought it. So hopefully it's good. I would like to sort of know my stuff with the thriller genre, but I unfortunately don't. So maybe don't come to me for thriller recommendations. The next book on my list is a very chunky book, so I'm quite intimidated. But I have heard, I posted a book haul where I bought this book a few months ago, and everyone who saw it was like, Seven Sisters is so good. Wow, you need to get to it. So I've just spoiled it, but the next book is The Seven Sisters by Lucinda Riley. I think it's by Lucinda Riley. Let me check. Yeah, it's by Lucinda Riley. This is the first book in quite a big series where each book follows a different sister, and each book is set in a different country or place, and we're following all the different sisters who are all so different, and we're following them on their journeys around the different places. We've got romance in there, sisterhood in there. You know that I love a book with sisterhood in. As a sister myself, I love reading about sister bonds, I love reading about sister dynamics. I just find it interesting, I just find it entertaining. So I am so signed up for this series. Like, I can't wait to get to it, but every single book is huge. And I'm a little intimidated because what is there to say in all them pages? Like, guys. But like I said, everyone who saw my haul, who has read that book or series, said it's really good and that I need to get to it. So I'm very excited, and I kind of want to start the first book in the spring, and then over the whole summer I'm gonna try read like the whole series. Maybe like over spring to early autumn I want to have finished the series. So yeah, I think it is also a finished, like a complete series as well. So if you're in the mood for maybe more like of a sister sort of friendship series with a subplot of romance, then this might be your vibe. I also love reading about different places and countries and adventures, so I feel like it's perfect. The next book is First Time Caller by B.K. Borison. This again is a fresh, hot on the shelves new release. I'm very excited to get to it. The cover is gorgeous. Something about the colourway of the cover just like scratches an itch in my brain. The pastels next to each other are just gorgeous. I think this is a sort of inspired by book of the film Sleepless in Seattle. Could be so wrong there, but I believe that it is inspired by that film. Never seen that film. Don't know if it's like a good film or not. I know it's very popular, I've just never seen it. I am very open to reading this book though, because the reviews I've seen of people who have read it as it's come out have been very high, very good, and I feel like I'm always in the mood for a rom-com. I've never read anything by B.K. Borison before, but I do feel like her books are great for the springtime. They give me that vibe for some reason. I am someone who just goes off of vibes. Yeah. I've just looked up the summary and it says, a hopeless romantic meets a jaded radio host in this cosy Sleepless in Seattle inspired love story. That sounds so fun. Okay, so our main male character has fallen out of love with love. Oh no. Oh my gosh, and he is the host of a romance hotline. Like a dating hotline, I think. Yeah. Oh. And I think the main female character calls in for advice and he has to like give it to her and talk to her or something. This whole concept sounds so fun. Wow, I feel like this is the perfect book to just binge on like a nice sunny day. Wow, I actually didn't really know the concept, but now that I know it, I definitely need to go pick that up. Also, the Works Sprayed Edge edition is so pretty. I feel like they'll have all sold out by now, but if I can get my hands on one, then I really want to. The next two books are ones that I want to listen to on audiobook. So the first one is The House in the Cerulean Sea. Is that the right? Have I just said that wrong? The House in the Cerulean Sea by T.J. Klune. This one is one I've seen for ages and ages and ages circulating book talk. I feel like it's quite a popular YA book. I believe it's YA. However, it's not one that I envision it's one that I really want to read, but it's not one that I envision myself sitting down and visually reading. I think this would definitely be a great one to kind of put on a road trip or on a walk, like things like that. Because I do really want to listen to the story, I just don't envision myself visually reading it. Which, does anyone else get that? Like, some books just give off the audiobook vibe, and that is this one for me. I think the cover is gorgeous, don't get me wrong, but yeah. So it follows a guy who works for kind of like a department of children with magical powers, I think, and he is sort of this lonely, almost grumpy guy who lives in a really small house on the top of a cliff, if I'm going off of the cover, and his job is to look over and like make sure that all the children in orphanages are doing okay who have magical powers. Okay, no, I don't think he lives on the cliff. I think he just lives in a small house, because then he gets an assignment to go to the house on the cover, I believe, where there are, I think, like 6 magical children, all with different magical abilities, and he has to, I don't know, look after them or something, and then maybe he's gonna become happy after looking after them. I don't know, that just sounds like such a beautiful story, and I do really want to listen to it. I think it's giving me major, the Miss Peregrine's Peculiar Children. I think that's the name of that film. You know the film with Asa Butterfield? That one. I really love that film. So if it's anything like that, I feel like I'm definitely going to enjoy it. And the next book I want to listen to on audiobook is one I've already started. I'm like 2% into it, so have I really started it? No. But it's Hungerstone by Kat Dunn. This one is sort of like a Carmilla retelling in a way. I think it's like about this woman who is married to this guy, and then they are on a journey somewhere in their carriage, and on the way they come across this woman who is Carmilla, and she kind of gets introduced to their lives and they kind of take her along, I think. And obviously Carmilla, we know who she is, ... And I just think it sounds very interesting. I'm very, very interested by the Carmilla storyline and things like that. I'd love to also get to the Dowry of Blood in like autumn, winter. But this one, I just think I'm going to start with listening to it over the spring and hopefully enjoy it. I just find the concept fascinating, and I think if it's executed well, it will be such a good audiobook listen. So I'm very excited to read it or listen to it, because the reason I want to listen to it is I feel like with these books, they're very descriptive, very flowery writing, very poetic, and I just find it easier to listen to that than to visually read it. So I'm gonna listen to it. It's not really giving spring vibes at all. Let me know if you've read this one. It's not giving spring vibes, but I'm gonna read it in the spring. So it's on the spring TBR. And the last book I'm gonna read in spring, that's on my spring TBR, is... it's actually a reread. It's Happy Place by Emily Henry. This one kind of gives summer vibes, but I'm going to read it in the spring. So I'm so excited to reread this book, because when I first read it, I think I rated it like a 3-star. And I was like, oh, Emily Henry's writing is not for me, and I'm not a big fan. And then I read Funny Story, rated it a 5-star, was obsessed, still obsessed. Loved the characters, loved the whole vibe, loved the writing, loved everything about that book. Like, Happy Place was just phenomenal to me. So I'm going to go back in and read Happy Place, because that's the only other Emily Henry book I own physically. I'm going to reread Happy Place and just kind of see where my updated thoughts stand, because I did read Happy Place when it first came out, and I feel like my reading tastes weren't really developed then. So I don't know, I probably wouldn't reread it if I hadn't rated Funny Story a 5-star, but purely because I have, I don't know, I kind of want to just revisit that and see where my head is at with that book, because it's such a well-loved book. Everyone seems to love it, and I just want to give it a second try. I also feel like Emily Henry's writing is perfect for this time of year. I will also be reading her new release when it comes out. I think that classifies as spring, I believe. Great Big Beautiful Life, I think it's called, but that's not technically on the list. I do want to reread Happy Place, maybe before I read her new book. So wish me luck on that. Fingers crossed that I love it second time round, but it's fine if not, of course. Happy Place is sort of like a, if you didn't know, which I'm sure you do, it's very popular, but it's kind of like a book surrounding friendship with a subplot of romance, as her books normally do. They're kind of like focused on the woman with a subplot of romance, and it's about these friends that go on a big group holiday to a holiday home in Maine, I believe, and they're kind of there and they've grown up together, but things are changing, and it's all about kind of accepting this change and growing into yourself as an adult, and sort of just trying to accept that things are not going to stay the same, but that is okay. And yeah, I love the concept of it, and I feel like the setting of Maine is just beautiful. Like, I can really picture it in my head, so that is definitely on my spring TBR. But that is my spring TBR officially. Let's see if I actually get to these 10 books. I have high hopes. I do think I could. I'm not actually sure how long spring is. When does spring end? Is it after Easter? I actually do not know. I'm going to try read these alongside the books that I pick in my TBR jars. So we've got a lot of reading to get to, so I kind of need to wrap this up and start reading. But thank you so much for watching today's video. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. As always, let me know any spring book racks or books that you have read recently that you really enjoyed that kind of give off a spring vibe. Will you be making a spring TBR? Let me know. Thank you so much for staying till the end of this video. I hope to see you in the next one. Bye guys.